When some game designers come up with a concept, they feel that a platonic ideal exists for a physical representation of this idea somewhere down the playtesting road. And their job as a designer is to find it. It's to carve away the marble, as it were, to reveal the sculpture underneath. The one true form of this idea in a physical form that they can present to players. And I've seen this in practice, playtesting with different designers where they'll try one rule after another, little tweaks to the rules that then, in retrospect, drive changes in the gameplay, and their job is to find the one form that is perfect for this concept. This is not true for most designers, and if you look at the pillars of the hobby game industry, our Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, our Catan, our Carcassonne, we see one idea represented in dozens of different ways. And it makes sense that we would explore and see how different things work. I mean, we are human and we do that all the time in our life, and there's not one perfect way to do pretty much anything. So we see lots of designers iterate and explore ideas in different ways, and one example of that is with 2016's Foldit by Yuhan Go, published by Happy Baobab. This is a fairly straightforward game in which each player gets a foldable cloth, and you have some target cards, and you are trying to race and fold your cloth in the perfect way to reveal only what's on those cards, and when you do, you grab a wooden token. And there's one less token than the number of players. If you made a mistake, or if you did not grab a token, you lose one of your stars, and you lose all your stars, you're out of the game. So if you're the only player left with stars, you win. It's to outlast everyone else by being fast and by being good. Now, in 2017, that idea was transformed into Battlefold with Dave Chua working with Johan Go, and the game was now transformed into a combat game, as represented by the Battlefold name, in which each player got an individual cloth that differed slightly in the icons on it. You're again trying to match target cards and grab tokens. There's one fewer token than the number of players. And after you get the tokens, you move on a board and try to damage other people. If you are the last one living, you win. If you get killed and transformed into a ghost, you still have a chance to attack the living players and collect energy from them, and possibly win that way by collecting enough energy before there's only one person still alive. So, same idea of folding and matching targets, but then done in a different way. Now for 2018, we're looking at Magic Fold by Bruno Cathala, working with Johan Go's Foldit system, in which each player gets a cloth. With Magic Fold, you can imagine with this Arabian Nights theme that we're going to get a magic carpet, and we are going to have to fold that in order to match patterns. What are we doing with that? Here are the components in Magic Fold. Now, not only are you racing to create patterns with your magic carpet, but you are also racing on the game board to be the first to reach the palace at the end of the path. In the basic game, whoever gets there first wins. Game over. You can play an extended game where you score points based on your placement with the Magic Palace, and you add those points over 3 games in order to see who has the most points. In the game, each round you're going to lay out 4 cards, which will show patterns that you are trying to create with your magic carpet. You reveal those 4 cards, no matter how many players you have in the game, 2 to 4, and then you race to create one of those patterns. You have some that are just colors, you have some with shapes, and you have some with both. And as you get into the advanced deck, you get much more challenging combinations. So as soon as you create something, you grab that card and token, you flip over the timer, you let everyone else continue. If someone was working toward this and I beat them to it, too bad for them. They just have to now refold and try for something else. Once time runs out, you resolve the tokens from 1 down to 4. The 1 token lets the player who holds it move someone back a space, so it's not useful on the first turn, but useful otherwise. And then you get the bonus that's shown on the card, so you get different combinations of things each turn. With the 2, I get to go ahead 1 space, and I get a genie. With this card, I also go ahead 1 space and get a genie. Now the genies let you use something as a joker, so if I built something like this in a future round where I'm trying to get 4 palaces and I actually have only 1 palace, I could use a genie to make palaces out of the other 3 spaces. You must have at least one thing match in order to use the genies that look surprisingly like Bruna Cathala painted blue. With third player, you move 2 spaces and do something. 4 is 3 spaces and do something. So there's an advantage in taking this, but of course you move after everyone else, and you are trying to reach the palace first. That matters only as you're far along the path, or as you're moving, because if you land on the green space, you get a snake token, which gives you some sort of drawback, such as folding with one hand, or not being able to use a genie. If you land on the blue cloud, you get a little shortcut, which will advance you farther down the path. So you've got targets. Right now, I want to move ahead 6 spaces. Well, that's going to be difficult depending on what comes up, but I can hope to do that. And there's an overview of Magic Fold, which I've played twice on a review copy from Happy Baobab, both times with 3 players. Once with only the basic cards, once with everything mixed together, and as you can tell from the description, the game itself is very straightforward. Make a pattern, advance. Make a pattern, advance. That's the challenge over and over again. The challenge, of course, being make that pattern. And as you add in the advanced cards, some of them are extremely difficult to figure out because there's exactly one way to do it, whereas with some of the basic patterns, you can do it in multiple ways. So making 2 blue squares next to one another, you can fold in different ways and get those blue squares together. Or, make a magic lamp next to a camel. You can do that in multiple ways. And the advanced ones make it harder, and then you have the additional complication of racing against someone else. Initially, you're kind of just focused on your own doings, your own folding. But as soon as you get scooped a couple of times from someone else, you start looking at other people. As soon as you flip the cards, you see someone fold. If there's like tucking away red, okay, they're probably going for this one. Or trying to, you get some sense of what people are doing. But at the same time, you're trying to work on your own thing. So your attention's a little divided, which makes it a little more of a challenge. And there's the one additional step of you not wanting to hit the negative spaces and wanting to hit the shortcuts. So how many spaces are you actually moving for each of these things? It's a different combination each time. You can just shoot for the card in the 4 slot because that goes ahead 3 spaces, at least for the 4. But if you lose out, then someone else has claimed it and the timer has started, and now you just got to begin again. 30 seconds. Go, 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 go. Fold, fold, fold. And that's the game.